Hey, it's Luke John Harrison here. Before we get into this video, make sure please that you like, comment and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Make sure the bell notification icon is on. It only takes 1 second of your day to make mine. Now let's get into it. Hey, I told you in the previous video that I would be counting down my top 10 favourite movies of all time. Not just what they meant to me, but the lessons that they either taught me or that are within the film that could contribute and be very useful to your own life. Last video was number 10. We're moving down to number 9 now, which is Ransom. Ransom was a 1996 or 97 thriller with Mel Gibson, Rene Russo and Gary Sinise. And what a movie it was. I had it on VHS, remember them? And back in the day, it was a fantastic drama. It was high tension, it was brilliant. And I watched it again actually just last week. And it's still had these emotions going inside. I think that's the benefit of a beautiful movie that really hits you. You feel, even though you know what's going to happen, you still feel anxious, you still feel worried, you still feel excited, you still feel scared, you still feel heartbroken, you still feel the emotions of what the characters are portraying on screen. I personally think that it's Mel Gibson's best ever role. Yes, even better than Braveheart. Yes, even better than Lethal Weapon. Although that may cause some controversy, you can let me know in the comments below. However, I loved the whole story. I loved the drama. I loved the action. I loved the dialogue even. And there's parts in that movie where Geddes really, like when he's on the phone to him and he's saying, "Go fuck yourself, give me back my son," and oh, the gunshot and everything. Oh man, it's intense, right? Really intense. Now, when I think back to when I watched that, I was about the same age as that kid in the film. And I think as a kid, I could kind of relate to that kid in a certain way that, imagine what that must feel like. Now, obviously I've never been kidnapped or held by ransom by anybody, by any stretch, but when I was around that age, when the movie came out, my mum and dad split up. It was about that time they were having problems in the marriage and the marriage ended. And I remember being told about it. I remember sitting, that I was playing outside on my swing, and then my dad calls in. I remember going and sitting onto the sofa, and my dad said something along the lines of, "Son, me and mum are just going to be apart for a while." And that was kind of the way it went. I just said, "Okay, can I go back outside now and play?" And that was it. As a 10-year-old, maybe 11, maybe even 9 and a half, you don't quite know how to deal with that kind of thing. So I didn't. I just went back out and played. And then my mum and dad parted ways. Still have a great relationship with them to this day, which is fantastic. But at the time, and I think for a lot of years, I didn't know how to handle that. Now, the reason I bring this to your attention is that I believe I carried a lot of that, I guess you could say, perceived abandonment issues, like in the movie. Child would have felt abandoned, child would have felt like he was neglected because he got caught, etc. I kind of related to that a lot. And I brought that into my adult life, and I think I brought that into a lot of past relationships, which were very much disruptive, which I didn't do very well in, and they weren't great. And subconsciously, I went into those relationships with, in the back of my mind, and I understand this now as an adult, that's had several failed relationships, that I always had that thought, it's probably going to end, so why try too hard? Why bother? It's probably not going to last. Probably not going to last. Because I'd taken that in from my childhood and what happened into my adulthood. So think about that. Think about how many things from your childhood, whether it just be trivial or quite serious, have happened around you that you brought into your adulthood and not realized. That was the thing that plagued me for many years, but I didn't actually realize it until I started to look after myself a bit more. What I mean by this is go on this journey of self-development, where I read the books, I went to the courses, I got the mentors, I became part of the masterminds and the programs, and I started looking at how to develop a great mindset, how to look back constructively and creatively, I guess you could say, over your past, not reactively, although sometimes that will happen, you'll create those emotions. But look at it from a perspective of, I wonder why that happened. Like, be more curious about yourself. That happens when you go on a journey of self-development, which is a continuous, relentless, non-stopping journey, I guess you could say. You're never going to just be finished and complete, like completing a video game. Like, you're never going to be complete in this journey of self-development. You're always going to be ongoing. I think that's the beauty of it. But in terms of relating back to the movie, like, still now, I feel those emotions of that kid being kidnapped, etc., and abandoned, whatever. And like, it kind of relates back to a lot of childhood things. And I want you to think about maybe your anxieties in your mental state as an adult and how you process emotions and things like that. It can be quite deep. And maybe it does need professional help, I don't know. Or maybe it just needs you to put your mind frame into asking more questions. I wonder why. And I think that's the thing I want you to take from this video, is that question of, I'm curious more about myself and my emotions. Many men especially are switched off at this point because it doesn't matter, we just crack on and get on with it. But what if you start to say, I wonder why a bit more? I'm being a bit more curious about yourself and why you handle your emotions the way that you do. So consider that, and I'll hit you up on the next video with number 8 of my top films of all time. See you in the next one.